It's that time again. It's time for another Saturday night special where we talk about everything rockhounding related. Well, we are kind of in a streak of good weather out here. Like right now as I film this, it is over 30 degrees, which that is very awesome. I'm very stoked for that. Which means me and Sarah, we had to get out, go take a little walk, get out, do some exploring. There's a hike that we went and did up in North Idaho, which has kind of been on my bucket list for a while because it's a popular one, right? And, you know, people suggest visitors go do this hike often, and we've lived here for a really long time, and we've never done it. So, just outside of Coeur d'Alene, we went and hiked up Mineral Ridge, and it is certainly pretty, and, well, going in the wintertime is a guarantee that you are going to have the place to yourself. And it's kind of cool, right? There's a little prospect up there, which, you know, is totally safe. It doesn't go back far, maybe like 12 feet or 15 feet. But it's kind of neat to see, and, you know, it'd be something that people could dip their toes into and see what it's a little bit like to be underground, even just a little bit. But overall, it was a great day. Now, two things that come with me all the time on all of these trips. I bring this little pouch, right? This little pouch with tools in it, and I bring a rock hammer. Now I have this it's like sheath thing for a rock hammer, and sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't. But I always have the rock hammer because every time I go somewhere, right, and I don't have the rock hammer, I don't have my little pouch of tools, well, I find myself needing them. And I was thinking we could kind of go into this today, but I really wanted to bring to your attention one thing that has been bothering me for a while now. I bring with me a pair of backup gloves just in case, okay? And in it, I keep my UV light because, you know, you're poking around, you're looking underground and stuff. There might be something neat. Well, you know, it's got this big lens, right? And I don't want it to get scratched up. So I just stick it in my glove. Well, you know, that's not the best, right? To kind of protect something. I feel so stupid for not recognizing this sooner. Well, I got an email from Brenda, and she was like, hey, I have the solution for carrying this. And when she showed me what it was, I had that moment where you're just like, I can't believe I didn't come up with this. So it's a long neck beer koozie. Look at this. This is the way to carry a light, a UV light. Oh my gosh. That is so perfect for protecting the actual light as it floats around in the little pouch. It's just killer idea. But I always bring this stuff with me because I think it's important. Okay, so let's just do a quick run through. I would highly suggest, if you do the type of more adventuresome rockhounding where you might be on a little hike or going here or going there, to always have these things. If you always have these things, you can accomplish most things, and you can put this little kit together quite affordably. So, little hand trowel, okay? I have a screwdriver that I heated it up and I bent it. It makes for a nice little pick for getting things. Another little pick for extractions. Think like crystals and little things that you want to like pop out, like little specimens and stuff. Little slightly bigger pry bar. This just happens to be a like 12-inch little cheapo from Harbor Freight. Two dinner knives. I called these a butter knife once, and somebody took me to town on that. Dinner knives. So these are very thin, obviously very thin, and they are great for fine things, shales, fossils, things like that. You can just tap, 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 tap them in, and it works excellent. Now, I've gone over all these tools. Let's tilt you down. I've gone over all of these tools in articles and in other videos, but, it's good to kind of, like see them and have more of a visual for people that might be new here. Got some craft tweezers. These are very handy. And I've used these tools so many different times over our adventures. And then a relatively small chisel. So I think we're a 3/4 inch cold chisel. And between all of these things and this, between all of these things, it's very lightweight, and I can cover all of my bases for rockhounding in case I ever... I never find myself not... how to say it? I never find myself lacking. And then here I got some Ziplocs, and I have some tin foil for wrapping up any specimens. And yeah, it's just a nice, handy little package that is just perfect for throwing in a pack. We go somewhere, looking at road cuts, all of that stuff, and it works great. Works great to have a nice little pouch, This past week, we did some zeolite collecting, and oh man, I'm getting into it, everybody. The zeolites, I'm thoroughly enjoying, and I would highly recommend. I mean, it's wintertime. Everybody, if you're watching this, I assume you have some level of interest in rocks and minerals. Pick something to do a deep dive on. Zeolites are probably the first thing that I've ever truly done a deep dive on, and I'm nowhere near the bottom. So it doesn't matter where you live, right? You have cool sedimentary, igneous, metamorphic rocks. Pick something. Get the books. Read the books. Like, just consume as much as you can, and I think you will be surprised at what you come up with. Zeolites, I might say, are on the more extreme end of the spectrum, I guess you could say, as far as like the complexity of these little guys. And I have a bunch of great microscope shots, which we'll roll those in here. I mean, there's almost no point in me trying to show you the specimens up close here. They're just so tiny. But it's a very fun thing for me to get into and really kind of just share, and I don't know. I like that. I like that deep dive into a topic. Speaking of deep dives, so this chunk right here, well, you can see it's missing a lot of it. Now, if you watch that video, this is was attached to a piece of basalt, probably that much bigger, right? And I said I was going to chisel it off, knock it off, which I did. And somebody, they were like, don't do it, you're going to destroy it, and all of that. And it started me thinking about this whole rock chiseling thing, because I have seen some people, destroy some rocks, chiseling. And, there's definitely a right and wrong way to go about it. You really have to pay attention to your rock. I could have cut this in the saw, but I personally think a more natural look is preferred. So if you want to reduce down the size of a specimen, get rid of some host rock or whatever, I think chiseling should be the preferred method. Now, when chiseling, right, here's two examples, and I picked really big ones just because. You have something flat, right? And we've got something pointed here. Now, this is probably the least of the useful shapes for a chisel, because when you take this, right, and we pick a rock and we start striking on this. This is the Estwing Gad bar. You're taking the force of that pointed tip and spreading it out in all directions upon a rock. And is that really what you want? I mean, most people know. If I wanted to take this piece off right here, this, I don't know, crusty part, and if I strike this here, right, I'm putting force into it, spreading out in all directions. Versus the flat one, it's going to be separating, more of a shearing, right? And I want to reduce how much I take off, so the angle on which you come in here will dictate that. So you always want to, if at all possible, go flat chisel over the pointed one and go for many hammer strikes, try to remove as little as possible, because once it's off, right? Like, you know, and that. So that's something to take into consideration, is that. And then after every time you knock a piece off, you want to really kind of re-examine the rock and look for any natural fractures. Taking a natural fracture and working that will yield a better result than taking a pointed chisel and just trying to hammer into something. This is kind of, in my opinion, more of a rough tool, something meant for just removing material that you don't really care about. And then as you get into more delicate, I guess we could say, chisels, like this is a Stanley Fat Max that I've removed most of the paint off of. Painted chisels suck, okay? They do. What are we doing? You don't want to leave paint on rocks. It's silliness. So yeah, I mean, chiseling, you can certainly do material reduction with chisels and do it successfully. It's been a little bit, but yeah, maybe it wasn't last week, it was the week previous, on the community tab of the page, of the channel page. I was sharing all kinds of different resources people could use to be able to go and do kind of like your own digging into different subjects and find different places to go rock hounding and all of that stuff. And the research aspect of rock hounding is, and people make it more complex than it needs to be. The thing that I dislike the most, when I see in a conversation, you know, like comment sections and stuff, people saying, do your own research, right? To me, it screams that that person has no clue whatsoever about doing actual research or rocks or minerals or anything. It's like a thing that, it's like this dismissive thing that people say, and I personally don't care for it. So I'm trying to share the tools, because on occasion, I will press these people a little bit and be like, oh, cool, so do my own research. Tell me, show me what's the research that you're doing, what are the resources that you use, and I get crickets usually, or they tell me to go read. Now, reading is great. I have an extensive library, and I love reading. Almost everything I know, I didn't come up with. I didn't research stuff. I've read other people's research, and reading in of itself is not research. Researching something, mineral deposits, whatever the topic is, means like a systematic investigation of something. And, it's not, it shouldn't be used as like a qualifier of like legitimacy. But if you scroll back on the community page a little bit, you'll see there's a bunch of cool links and different things that you can use personally to help guide your ship a little bit as we navigate this whole rock and mineral thing. And that, I want people to go out, and have a good time the same way me and Sarah get to go out and have a good time. And going to places like the Burnt Cabin Creek Road Cut, out by Monument and all of that, like, it's great. Deep dive into a subject, traveling, going camping with Sarah, all of it's good. And I appreciate you guys watching and allowing me to, you know, share the topics with you. This coming week, we're going to be continuing our Oregon adventure a little bit. So stay tuned for that. It should be pretty good. It's kind of an interesting one, and hopefully you guys like it. Well, as always, thank you for coming by, hanging out with me in the shop, watching the complete video. If you haven't subscribed, if you see a little red button down there that says subscribe, I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to the channel. I have lots more great videos to come. Thank you. I hope you have a good weekend, everybody. Y'all take care.